Hi, we're the Sage Seeking Sisters. I'm Jackie.
And I'm Stacy.
And today with us we have our dad.
Duane.
Duane is his name.
My girls.
Oh, wonderful man here, wonderful man.
Thank you for joining us today.
Well, thanks, girls.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
So you are filled with a lot of wisdom from your life experiences, a lot of book knowledge, a lot of political and historical knowledge.
Yes. Well,
Yes.
thank you.
And he was a history teacher for many years.
Listen, I want to know, daughters, how much time do we have for this?
Well,
We're going to cut it a
are,
little
are
short.
you going to censor me?
no
What I say? Okay.
censorship here.
All right, I'm ready. And
Yes.
this, for the listening audience, this is an impromptu.
It sure
Okay.
is, yes. So you celebrated your 80th last year, correct?
You don't have to be that accurate.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, but you so
yes.
so,
Yes, I
Yes.
did. Yeah.
and keep them coming.
Yeah. Well,
And
thank you.
So I know we talk a lot about the differences between growing up today
Yes.
and in yesteryears. Can you share
Yes.
with our audience some of the biggest contrasts that you see, or how life
Well,
was different?
yes, I can.
Okay.
When I was a little boy, my parents, they were divorced when I was 8. My younger brother Wayne was 3. So back then, our mom was a single parent mother. And in those days, that was rare.
Yeah.
Rare to the point, I remember this vividly. When I was in 4th grade, you go up to the teacher and you had to fill out these emergency cards, and about your parent. And I put divorced, Oh, Duane, I'm so sorry. I thought I had leprosy or something,
Right.
That was so unusual in the 50s,
Yeah.
okay? But anyway,
stigma.
so the bottom line with all this is today when I look back or I see contemporary society, I think, my opinion, I think the nuclear family as such is definitely on the decline. The traditional husband and wife, most are blended families. In a classroom when I was growing up, maybe 2 or 3 out of a classroom of 30 came from a divorced home or had step parents and all that. Today, I think that's probably the opposite. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
So,
yeah. Well,
that was
statistically,
one thing.
55% of marriages end in divorce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Yes.
those stats. Another thing in the neighborhood as such, our neighborhood, we knew our neighbors. We knew our neighbors.
And we know ours here, but it's
Yeah.
rare.
It's
yes.
ra-
Yes.
across the street or in your backyard, but we knew them all the way down the street and all around.
Yeah.
And they were like just great friends, all of them, and
Yeah.
and we played outside. We didn't have these iPhones. Is that what you call
Yes.
it?
Yeah.
You got it.
We played such things as sword fighters, we take a garbage can lid, that was the shield. We take
So cute.
a tomato steak and make a sword out of it.
Yes. Creative.
Creative.
Yes.
We take a cork. We would take a cork, wrap it with electrical tape,
Yeah.
and play stickball in our
Yeah.
driveway. Or later on, when the wiffle balls came out, we did that. We were always doing some kick the can with the whole neighborhood, out in the streets. So we had things like that. And it's funny, we're up, my wife and I are here visiting our family and grandkids, our daughters and son. And what was I going to say with that? I'm losing my track.
With your grandchildren?
But yeah, about playing outside versus iPhones.
Yeah, I got that. Well, anyway, it will come back to me. That's what happens when you're 39, folks.
Well, that's okay. Talking about playing, I mean, growing up, we got to play badminton. He taught us how to play ping pong. There's so many things that we did. Basketball. So that was definitely something. Yeah, definitely something that you implemented too.
Yeah. Oh, I just remembered what I had just forgotten. While here, we went up in Ohio, up into Geneva on the Lake, and Jimmy, my son, he took us to see a good friend of his that he had met, and he was a classmate of mine, Jimmy Preston. And we went over to his summer cottage on Lake Erie, and we spent the afternoon just talking about these times I was telling you about.
Yeah.
And I told him, and I told my grandson Brian here, I says, my good buddy, we grew up like Georgie and Brian. We played basketball for West Junior. We were guards. We brought the ball down to the court, you know, and he taught me how to play ping pong. And then I ended up being a novice champion in Trumbull County. You know, and but it's so much for that.
Spike.
Other things. Go ahead. You asked me.
Well, okay. I was gonna say, what do you think are like the challenges that young people face? Obviously, like the screens, but in general today, like, what do you see as the biggest? I mean, I think it's very scary raising children today.
Oh, there's no
daunting.
question about it. There's no question about it. And with the media and just so much fun. Education-wise too.
Yeah.
Today, I think there's more functional illiteracy than there ever was in my time. And I feel sad for the boys and girls who don't have the opportunity to get computer literate or and that. But the only problem, all technology usually ends up having a vice to it.
Sure.
And I think with that is with the phones. My two daughters will probably
I agree. They're addictive.
What happened?
And
It leads to social isolation.
It does.
Isolation.
Yeah.
Where the kids are comparing the scores, the games they play on the iPhone with each other to see who scored the most points, and they're the best in the neighborhood. That was well, we didn't have that.
Right.
You know.
You actually showed
But,
up and we're the best in the neighborhood at whatever sport it was.
Right. And I just think they have a hard time, not all now, I'm not saying all, I'm not, but communicating. Everything is short, very curt statements.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
they have a hard time establishing a dialogue with anyone.
Yeah.
What I noticed, you know, but that's me.
Yeah.
Go
Now,
ahead.
what about in education?
Education. What do you want to know?
Well,
The difference.
yeah, because I know, like today, I feel, obviously we're not manufacturing, like we used to.
Yeah.
And I just read something, the Karpinska Institute in Sweden, they're actually going back to more flashcards and and textbooks and pencil and paper writing, because you need empathy to really learn well. And you need that like social connection, and the screens, again, like you were saying, you're divided. It's isolating.
I was telling Brian, little Brian, I call him little Brian because his dad is big Brian. But anyway, I was telling him about the flashcards. You know, I said I was like in 4th grade, or when that was introduced, and that was the old rote learning for those basic things
and
I'm
they're
talking
saying
about,
that is important.
But today I feel bad because I can't remember all these stats all the time, but with the labor force that we have, what are these people going to do that don't have high-tech jobs? because the manufacturing, as Stacy pointed out, is almost unheard of. Everything's service oriented.
Yes.
Excuse me. So what are they going to do? And you know, by 6th grade or middle school, as you call it here, if you don't have a lot of the basics, the gap doesn't narrow.
No.
It widens as
Yeah.
they move towards high school graduation and that. So I often think about that, you know. And then people say there's a lot of, I'm not talking total politics here, but people talk about, well, we should do away with welfare or food stamps or something. But for the grace of God go I.
That's it.
Because
That's it.
there's so
Any one
many
of us.
people who can't find work
That's
Yeah.
right.
or are sick.
Yes.
Or what are you going to do with them?
Yes.
And another thing,
And a
you-
democracy takes care of its people,
and here's another
the least among us.
Yes, and another significant point is, at one time in a agrarian society, Farmer Jones would help Farmer Smith out if he needed potatoes or he was sick, and they'd take soup over to him, a barter system.
Yeah.
You know, well, today, what are you going to do? People say, oh, the homeless or this. When I see a lot of the homeless, when I stop and say something, or sometimes I throw a buck or two in the pot,
Yeah.
you know, I said, don't forget there's St. Vincent de Paul. There's with the
Salvation
Christmas
Army.
Salvation.
Yeah.
I said, go down there.
Yeah.
Go down there and get a meal, good
Yeah.
meal, hot meal.
Yeah.
And you can stay there too.
Yeah, there's shelters.
Shelters.
Yeah.
I
Even
said,
though-
you know, but
Would not be my choice.
that's just sad to see.
It's very
in today's
sad. In our
society.
country, it's,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
Right.
actually
It is.
disgusting.
Okay, we
Well,
took care of that.
Switching channels.
Yeah, yes, now for my Jackie, my baby.
That's right. So, just to give a little bit of a background, he has been through cancer twice, and he is a definite champion in life for sure.
Resilience.
Yes, he showed that
The
not
capital
only on the
R.
badminton court, but in life, just the things that he has overcame in his life. So just to kind of ask you kind of what some of your spiritual or everyday
Oh, I'm very
routines that you do.
well. I'm definitely not a saint. Okay.
None of us are.
I'm not a Saint Duane, but I I believe in life you need balance.
Yeah.
You need like three phases of life. You have your physical.
Yep.
My daughter here gets up 4 in the morning and goes and works out before she goes to work.
And this
That's
daughter gets
your-
up at 5.
And
does the
this one
same.
gets up at 5.
Yes.
I'm so proud of
It's
both
very
of them.
important to take care.
They ran in 5K or 10K, whatever it was. I'm so proud of them. And
But
while
we
we
take after
mentioned,
you, Mr. Marathon.
Oh yeah.
Yes. So
Yes.
the physical, what are the other ones?
the physical,
Yep.
the social,
Yes.
definitely these two are very active in their social lives, which is
We
so
try.
important, you know. And then the so-called spiritual,
Yeah.
religious, whether I notice in our church back home when we go to mass, I see less and less young families, more elderly, you know.
Yeah.
And I can, some of them, their main focus right now in their life is to get their kids raised or whatever. They don't have time. Oh, we got to play ball on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
You know, that was
Well, that's-
unheard of
yeah.
when I was young.
That's
but
the
anyway,
sports
Yeah.
complex.
I start each day with devotions before I even shower or shave. Or when I get out of bed, I get my prayer cards. I have some basic prayers, and then I pray. And I always,
And we have witnessed that
thank you.
in the
I
chair.
always say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God, for today, for yesterday and today.
That's it.
One day at a time.
That's it.
Reflect. Take time to see creation.
Yep.
I don't need drugs.
That's it. You're high on life, Dad.
I'm high on
I've
life.
always used that. I tell my students that now. They're like, what?
I can get high on my wife and I, we
So
live
true.
in Florida, and we're in a gated community. That's what the old people do. And
Compound.
my wife always said, "Oh, did you lock the door?" Did I? Hey, if they want to get in, they're going to get in. But anyway, was I? Oh, the beautiful
skyline.
sunsets
Here too.
all
Here
in
too.
here.
So pretty.
But we have them
Everywhere.
all the time.
Yeah.
This doom and gloom doesn't get
Yes,
it with me.
we unfortunately
And
have too many
I
great
think.
days.
It's been a good summer though.
Yes, it has.
Oh
We'll
yeah,
take
you
it.
guys.
Really sunny, so.
It's good to be here because right now in Ocala, Florida, the
Dying.
humidity. You go to the mailbox and you break into a sweat. You know, so we do things in the evening. But anyway,
But you've
as
always
far as
instilled that
getting
nature.
back to dealing with
Adversity.
my daughter's book. I'm so proud of her. The heart always wins. Is that it?
Yes.
Always wins.
Yep.
Resiliency.
Yep.
Never give up.
That's it.
Never give up. And things that you can't do yourself, turn it over to God.
Wonderful.
And we all know, or most people do, that life is really short. I remember my mom in her late 70s when she had her own apartment, and I would stop in every day after school while I was still teaching to see her and have a cup of coffee before I'd go home. But she told me one day, she said, you know, Duane, she says, life is so short.
Yeah.
She said, I just think it was just like yesterday, you and your brother were out playing in the yard and all that, and here I am, 78 years old or 79, you know. So
Well, we were just saying, having a daughter going into high school, daughter in college.
yeah,
Jeez.
oh yeah,
Wise.
and they look like college. My girls
That's
look
right.
like
We'll
college
take it.
students. Yeah.
Sage seeking
So
sisters.
yeah, I'm so proud.
Aw.
Both they weren't born with silver spoons. They worked, and they're still working. They're still pursuing education or reading and whatever. This one, if you need to purchase a home, call Jackie.
That's right.
Mortgage broker. If you need some counseling, conflict resolution, call my daughter Stacy. They'll take care of you. Now, I'm not going to tell you how much you're going to charge, but anyway, you wouldn't go wrong.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Dad.
Is that it?
Yes,
good.
we
Love
love
you.
you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Love you too.